Hey, everybody. It's Alexander A. Manzoni, and this is Manzoni in the Morning, live. It was a real pain in the ass trying to get this stream up. Took a long goddamn time, longer than it should have. But it's been a long time since I went live, so bam, here I am. All right, time for a poem. How about that? This is called Random Acts of Violence. Beware, good citizens. Keep your eyes open. Attune your ears to anything out of place. And tarry not too long upon your cell phone screen while out on the town or around the bend. Your end may come through poisoned virtue. The random act of violence. Be it a bullet in the head, a knife in the back, all due to being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Take it from me, a convicted felon, though my crimes be of chemical possession and a little bit of conspiratorial obstruction. They will kill you to alleviate their suffering, and everyone is suspect. Wolves in sheep's clothing, whether it be nightfall or day. There must be another way to live. For us, without doing too much. Maximum security necessary. Watch your back obsessively. You shall never be able to check off all the boxes. Watch some kid as he rips down a stop sign at 6:30 in the morning. Here be a poetry warning. Warming centers, spent packets that once heated hands come fall. They begin to litter the ground. Look around. Who is that walking behind you? What have you got to lose except your life? A demon in a sidewalk tent screams to beckon me closer, to which I run from and long gazelle gallops. Get back here, he resounds, but I am already 2 blocks away. Not today, I say, glancing into alleys as I blur past. Car prowlers all lurking round the place. Methed out, they believe their actions unassuming. No thought given to grooming. Ghost busting, invisible rocks conversing with hallucinatory figures in their shoulder swaying swagger. Fold out knives akin to daggers. Is this the end or another curve past the bend? I shot enough meth to know what may follow. And that is why I am more on guard than most. Ready for anything, anytime, anywhere. Do you think they care? And maybe some do, but what's the use when the drugs, they be in vain? Yep, that's a poem. That's a poem about all this crazy shit that I see every day. I look out the window and I see a guy walking down the street, kicking down trash cans and shit like that. You know, it's all like a crazy half-cocked episode of Breaking Bad. And that's what led me to write the Spokane story, because I was on a Breaking Bad marathon binge, and I watched all the episodes again. And when it was over, I was like, man, I wish there was something else. And then I started seeing all these scenes playing out in the street, just craziness. And, well, I took a lot of inspiration from that. You know, a lot of the scenes come from just me walking outside or looking out the window or being somewhere waiting for something. And then I see all kinds of shit going down. And then I say to myself, wow, I have to interpret this and change it a little bit and then use it in the book. And I wrote the Spokane story. It took like a year and a half to finish the first draft. And then I wrote a second book, The Spokane Story 2, American Dabbers. And that took me a year. And then I started a third one. And that's where we're at now. But when I got to the third one, I went back and started editing the first one. Because if there's one thing that takes more time than writing a book, it's editing a book. Not easy. It's not easy. And it's easy to get disheartened and bogged down in the minutia. And then pretty soon, like time starts slipping away. And then it's 3 years later and you're like looking back at your stuff and you're like, what the fuck? It's been a lot of fun, though, doing all this stuff and doing the poetry, going around town and interpreting the Spokane Story as poetry and then doing it as a spoken word show. People told me, oh, you should go around advertising for a book that isn't published yet. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Well, how about this? I got my book and I'm advertising for it and I'm selling merchandise too. The Spokane Story backpacks and hats available at www.thespokanestory.com. That's my website. There's another poem. Our Russian president. I am pissed off about this goddamn shit with this goddamn president. Really pissed off. Every day I wake up and I'm disgusted. Disgusted by the man sitting in the White House, shitting it up. Fuck that shit. Tired of it. I wrote this poem while watching the Helsinki conference with Mr. Trump. Hello, everybody. This is my best friend, Vladimir Putin. Don't worry, we watch each other's backs. You wipe my ass and I'll wipe yours. Okay. It's not what he does all the time. Fuck that shit. What a fucking asshole. Our Russian president. Russian dogs. You kowtow to them. My Russian president, you've sold us out to the world's most notorious modern monster. You'll do whatever it takes to shape us into the United States of Russia. Watching you and Putin in Helsinki, don't think that this is over. At the nipple of the bear, nursing vodka and madness. Backing up whatever he says, Putin can do no wrong. How long will this last? Remember the lessons of the past. You revere Reagan, but he's rolling in his grave. Your enclave of Republican cronies can go below me. Figuratively, don't forgive me, please listen to me, to all the signs that point to our eventual demise. Your presidency is a crime. I must survive to see the end, otherwise I would have already died by suicide. Are we ready for some more lies? The cries of freedom are dying. Don't worry though, Putin just said that he'll look into it. Yeah, right. I don't believe a word anybody says anymore. Okay, this poem is called Allegations a Go-Go, Altar Boy Edition. I wrote this poem in August when with all this stuff, more stuff coming up about all these priests doing horrible shit. I made it a point to look up my old priests because I used to go to Catholic school and I used to be an altar boy and was pretty involved with the church and to a point where, for a moment, I wanted to be a priest. And the priest that inspired me to say that, well, I looked him up, and it turns out that back in the 70s, he molested one kid or a couple kids or something, and the diocese paid out $7,000 to the parties to wrap it all up. I want to keep this under wraps. And from there, they sent this guy to my parish where, he was the priest, and I thought he was cool. I thought, oh, there's the cool priest. And turns out he wasn't cool. And it's really, really, really upsetting to find out that somebody that you trusted and, put a lot of faith in turns out to be a very bad person. This is called Allegations a Go-Go. Allegations a Go-Go, what do we know? Except what court records show us. Payoffs, $7,000 says those allegations are true. Now I am combing through the past, searching for anything I missed during my tenure as an altar boy. For the $7,000 payout was due to the actions of my favorite priest, the fun priest, and now I don't know what to think. Is the good Lord driving me to drink? I spent a lot of time alone with him, yet nothing happened to me. But what about the others? My Catholic brothers, nothing is what it seems, a faraway dream or a nightmare. If something happened, I hope you come forward. The truth must not be shrouded. Is my memory clouded? Did I block out what may have transpired? I feel that if I did, there would have been a poem about it by now. Do not cower beneath the watchful eyes of God. His protection, it only goeth so far. $5 for funerals, I was paid in turn, and a pass to get out of class. Luckily, that was all I received. One reaps what he sows. Don't you know a path of light exists within dark and hollow? Where will our footfalls bring us? Hopefully, towards resolution, as opposed to divine revelation. Where be it may I find upon you the mark of the beast, my priest. I said unto you my confessions. Now, where are yours? Kind of tough of a tough subject. People don't want to talk about it, but you got to talk about it because it's affecting so many people. Outrageous. This is the flying poem. It's a little bit lighter. Write a poem, cast it into the wind. Where does it go? I do not know. I follow the page down the road. It is still drifting, rustling wood pulp. Another gust, the poem, it is darting between evergreens. Following closely, walking becomes jogging, transitions to running. To continue after that bleached wayward square, knowing not where it is that we are going. Don't get hit by a car, white Escalade SUV that killed my dog. Or the Pontiac Firebird charcoal black dope dealer 60 midnight two-wheel drive devil caravans. Dodging death dives of predatory hawk birds, following the words as they continue to fly. Barreling corkscrews between branches across traffic and over the river. An illusory image of an eagle. Deliver me to where it is that I need to go, through dry heat and rain and snow, until the cities turn to towns, then boroughs, hills, mountains to forested tundra, traveling further. Where am I now? Is this Canada? The page still seems to be within my grasp, within my understanding. I am still following the errant page, yellowing now, wet yet floating, drifting into the barest remnants of twilight. There be no question as to whether I will ever return home. I am still on the move. There are words still left to use. I am still following that dream. Thank you. Here's another poem. It's about my phone that's always watching me all the time, even when I don't really want it to. Eye on my thigh, it's gazing up at me. Cell phone surveillance, a precarious dance between electronic and corporeal realities, watching me, watching us all the time, watching all the moments of my life. I cover you when I be in bedroom. No room for advertisers and marketers when I am making love. Voyeurs, corporate posers, I give you no warrant to observe my Voyager. Eye on my thigh. Don't tell me you aren't watching me fucking and shitting and writing poetry. Do not deny the optic eye. Red glowing, minuscule, multiple, there are eyes all over. Even when I am alone, where alone? My phone, my pad, my laptop, no stop to their intrusive witness. Witless be the one who standeth at the wall of information into infinity, screaming obscenities relentlessly. Paranoid be the ones who adorn themselves in tinfoil hats, metaphorical or otherwise. Skies they fill with drones watching down, yet we still be victims of this American carnage. Why can't your eyes protect us, our children, our elders, from infantile to venerable, living our lives so uncertain? The serpent once decapitated, it continues to rise. I love all the technology that we have in this day and age, the VR, the instant connectivity to the president, to celebrities and all that, but in turn, we give up our privacy, give up knowing in a room, thinking, oh, nobody is listening to me because there's microphones on everything and they're listening all the time. But I can't wait. One day I'm going to get one of those refrigerators and I'm going to have my family, and then they got the computer in the refrigerator, and I think it's only a matter of time before they're going to have it so that it'll like have the camera and it'll tell you who took the last fucking soda, who took the last beer. Hey, there's no question about it. And the kids won't be able to blame the other kid because, you've been caught on camera. But aside from that, I don't really like the idea that someone might be watching me on the toilet or in any of the other places. So, keep your eyes open, and maybe, when you go to put that phone down next to your toilet, when you're doing your business, maybe keep that eye away from you. Here is a reading from American Carnage. It is a novel about the year 2092. It is a satire. I kind of took a page from George Orwell with 1984 and Animal Farm, except a little bit more edgy and a little bit crazier. I really like that kind of stuff. Philip K. Dick, with a Scanner Darkly and those kinds of sci-fi novels and things like that. So I took that and been interpreting my, all this political drama and then making it my own. This is called Chapter 4, Yuta Proliferates Propaganda for the Republican Government. The only free American is an American living in America with true Americans. I don't think I can take it anymore. Frustrated, Yuta momentarily pulled back from her work. She had spent the last 18 hours churning out objectively objectionable material for President Eagleman's latest, newest campaign of expansive public disinformation. As far as the material went, there really wasn't much to speak of that was new and original, per se. In actuality, it was, for the most part, repurposed crap that could very well have been used to simultaneously wallpaper Hitler and Stalin's bathrooms. The ideology was different, but in the end, the effect was the same. Misery and death for everyone, except for those at the very top 0.1% of the societal chain. Needless to say, perhaps, but Yuta Lacrimosa was not in that bracket. She was forever in danger of being downsized, which was usually the beginning of the ever so slippery slope to the forced labor camps. Such was the plight of being stuck in the middle class, which amounted to only 14% of the American public. You weren't as expendable as the lower class, but you were still very much expendable to the top 0.5%. Anytime someone needed to be blamed for something or to be thrown under a bus, an upperclasser would choose one under their own employ, often through threats of employment termination, to take responsibility for a staggeringly wide range of offenses to society and humanity. As a whole, Yuta's office had experienced a boom period of increased growth since the new Republican administration took over. Silas Van Scooney and his liberal Democrats, they had little need for such endeavors that Yuta's organization catered to. The pamphlets, posters, both motivational as well as ones that were terrifying to behold. Wasteful loose-leaf handouts by the millions. The liberal Democrats didn't have much of an agenda themselves to push, except for less robots in Congress. Maybe that was one reason why they lost so badly during the past two quadrennial election cycles. Yuta felt increasingly pressured by the representatives of this new administration. They would not take no for an answer for anything. They held a fine list for hiring contractors to sustain a federal hiring freeze that had been in place since the 2080s. They held no qualms about replacing anybody they thought to be contradictory to their own belief system. By replacing, they would literally replace them with a government-made-up robot. And even though that person would very clearly become a robot overnight, nobody would ever admit that such a deed had taken place. What happened to those who had been replaced was determined by the nature of their crimes against the system. The only thing that mattered was that those individuals were never seen again by their loved ones. The worst, they were taken to Guantanamo Tower, while the others were dispersed through a network of political work camp prisons, often unsubtly disguised as legitimate industry. Yuta was one of those so contracted. In this respect, she was luckier and living in much better conditions than most. Looks adequate, said a voice over Yuta's shoulder. It was her manager, Constantina, looking over the contents of Yuta's computer screen. Adequately adequate?
Oh, yes.
I dare say that this piece is extremely adequate. I particularly enjoy the line work in this piece. It really makes the evil in those dirty, filthy ignorants pop. Makes you kind of reel back in terror, doesn't it? That's why it pops. It'll give the children nightmares. I shudder to think what they'll be thinking. Oh, those young minds, they are so malleable. Excuse me, I get a bit caught up in the process of shaping public opinion. Good work, Yuda. You always do good work for the company. Yes, I live merely to serve our government and our Republican leader-in-chief. Ha ha, yes, you get the idea. Not like some people I know around here, like that Nathan. Well, you didn't hear this from me, but I got word that he's on the chopping block sometime very soon. Bye-bye, Nathan, said Yuda, adding a shrill, awkward laugh to make her enthusiasm seem more authentic. Authenticity was key. Yes, I already received the paperwork. He's basically already gone. Nate who? Exactly. Nate who? No, really, you would do well to begin forgetting him as soon as possible. Scrub him from your contacts. It'll save time later, especially if there happens to be a big push about to come on. I will make it a point to make a point of doing so. Excellent, Patriot. Carry on until your designated breakaway period of idleness and presumptive dietary consumption. Constantina awkwardly patted her employee on the right shoulder before turning away and exiting a small office to evaluate the other's progress. And that's a chapter from American Carnage. There's a lot of different characters in American Carnage, a lot of different storylines. You got all these different characters in the future, and they're all kind of converging at the same to some fantastic calamity, you know. So we got like it would seem like different, you know, all these different storylines of people living their lives in the future. And there's Constantina, who works for the propaganda office. There's Marty, who is a serial killer on the kind of like nobody notices he's a serial killer because he's just this plain geeky white guy who's just like, hi, my name's Marty. And then he goes, and when there's a terrorist attack, he goes and abducts women, you know, because that's what fucking people like to do in the future. Then well, really, the main character is Francois Renoir, who is an artist in Spokane, and he's got his buddy, Kevane, the human smuggler. And they both go on a journey to try to escape America, because in the future, instead of trying to keep people from coming in through the borders, they're trying to keep people from leaving, because it's just the government has become so totalitarian that people can't take it anymore. And then they've gone from just like prosecuting immigrants to going after the sons and daughters of immigrants. And that's where I get ignorance from. Or anybody like you know, your grandpa was a fucking immigrant. You could be on the chopping block where they could deport you and or put you in prison for the rest of your life. So Francois and Kevane, they try to escape through the northern border from the United States into Canada. And, wackiness ensues. Some other characters. There's the Piece de Resistance is a revolutionary group that lives in Oregon under in a secret underground compound underneath Ken Kesey's old magic bus. And they're trying to live their lives and without Republican interference, but they've got all kinds of problems. And then we got this kid, his name is, we got Rex, who's a billionaire's son, and he gets abducted by terrorists, and they train him to become one. So they bring him out to the I think it's the Democratic National Convention, or like the Democrats are having a big convention, and they send him there to go assassinate a motherfucker, and more wackiness ensues, And so, like, from the Democrats, we got Silas Van Scooney, who was the original president, and he fucking sucked. Everyone hates him. Now we got Miles Spendity, who is like kind of like a combination of the Kennedys and the Kardashians. So we got him and his family, and his family's all fucked up. He's more like Kennedy. Now, if there's one thing I'd like to say about America, is that us in America, we will be Americans in true America until America comes to America Town. But then it's like his daughters and sons are all fucked up and with their butt implants and plastic surgery wackiness. This is a crazy book. You know what I mean? And then we got Eagleman, President Trump, just going around, fucking around town, fucking up shit. And he's a lot of fun to play. Hello, America. Here is a message. Stay calm and don't think. The fake news is trying to tell you that America is going down the tubes. But look at all the jobs we made last week. I made, personally, 16 million jobs, okay, in the hand industry. Okay, to make your hands go like this. We're going to build the best these hands, and we're going to go, and they're going to come free with every Make America Great Again hat. Make America Great Again, America first. Shove it. Shove it up your ass, motherfucker. And, yeah. So, we're going to have another poem. This one, brand new poem I just came up with yesterday. This one is called Doppelganger. A figure in the distance calls to me. Words carry over the horizon, obscured with the dampness of fog, beckoning me to journey. I scramble off the roof and leap to the ground running. I defy gravity. No ankle be sprained. Winding down the hills and over canyon, snarling dogs and feral cats nip at my heels. I feel their heat in the crisp morning air, incisors locked onto my feet. I kick them clear to the moon. Now I am dodging trains. Carry me closer to the call. Meteors fall, air to ground, star bursts. The worst is yet to come. Summertime snowfall in fall. I brush the ash and dust from my nose. Stumbling over empty discarded liquor bottles. Billowing smoke, it rises from mountains. Over yonder as I wonder and wander, there are bodies piling up all over. I devour a four-leaf clover in hopes of obtaining its power. Do not cower beneath the unrelenting force. Of course, you'll want to protect your eyes. Shake off the cries of the damned and rise. A figure in the distance calls to me quietly, simply from the tops of pine trees. I am taken and shaken to reveal its truth beyond that of ancient soothsayers. I am just another player in another long game. Explain the game. Explain this pain that I feel that cannot possibly be real. I will not kneel to the dark god. I realize that it is the figure's true identity, and every possibility is probable. And with this revelation, I begin the climb over towering rocky edifice. I feel the burn of sulfur upon my face as vultures gather circling above. One good shove would cause me to plummet. I near the edge. My fingers find their place. I am now face to face with evil. It is beautifully reassuring, positively alluring. The dark god tells me that there is nothing to worry about, and he extends to me his gnarled rod. Take hold and know, spoke he, and then you will not be slow to follow. I batted away. To the evil's dismay, taken aback, he released the beast. And we met eye to eye. The tentacled, snarling terror took shape of my doppelganger. And we did battle. And we did battle upon that mountaintop, over and under and all the way through to the molten iron planetary core. Mirror image, it knoweth my every move. Empty eyes, be this my demise, battling myself in 9 layers of hell. Here comes a tremor. A fissure opens up before us. I am thrown to the ground, right at the edge. Lava bubbles up and rains down from grim stalactites. The doppelganger throttles me by my throat, ready to gloat upon my untimely end, when the ledge around began to crack. What's that? I say, a puerile distraction. As he looked to the left, I left his grasp. Fake out, football, shoot, hoop, hoop. I kicked him in the back, and he flew forward, reeling, not feeling much except heat as he flew into the lava. The dark god was all out of options, so he summoned an eruption to ostensibly teach me the ultimate lesson. And the chamber crumbled. I stumbled onto a section that had fallen. It became an island, a rock to thence be ridden. No room for error beneath the rock did the terror rise. One cannot deny the darkness lurking within the self, and it followed me up, while surfing down the mountain. I go down. Escape does not mean release. And even though it seems it has been beaten, it is always lurking, ready to snatch my soul at the first opportunity. Will there ever possibly be peace? That was a poem about my mirror image. And funny story, well, not really a story, the 4-leaf clover I devour in the poem. I did that a while back when I was having a really bad time with my probation and thinking I was going to go to jail or prison for a year. And I was carrying around a 4-leaf clover, and it wasn't really doing much for me. So I took it and I said to myself, what happens if I eat it? So I ate it, and a lot of more bad stuff happened, but stuff got a lot better once I got to Spokane 4 years ago. That's almost exactly 4 years ago this month. It might actually be exactly 4 years ago. Who knows? Not really positive what day it was, but it was around the end of September. I came out here and hit the ground running. Got my own place and just started writing novels and poetry. Came out to town, saw the live poetry scene over at Nito Burrito and Auntie's Bookstore, and decided I wanted to be a part of that. And then from there, I started doing as many events as I could until I got my show over at Art Seed Spokane, which I did for a year. It was like twice a month, 4 or 5 hour long marathon poetry, spoken word readings. And then this year it got shut down. The fire department, something about zoning. The place was never supposed to have an art show, but we had them anyway, and now they're done. And Art Seed's done, but not gone. I hear tell they're looking for a new building and to do these shows. And once we got a new place, I'll be back. I'll be back doing my poetry show, and it'll be great. And until then, I'm just doing stuff around town. I'm going to be performing at Terrain next Friday. At 7:30, the block is at 7:30. There's like 4 poets going on, and I'm the last one. So I'll probably be going on around 8 o'clock. I did the Terrain show last year, and it was a lot of fun. I have like this dome outside, and there's so many people. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm really looking forward to finishing the show, Manzoni in the Morning. It's been taking me almost 2.5 months now working on this. But I want to make sure it's the best it can be before I release it for all of you to watch. And it's turning out quite well. I've been sending it out to my little focus groups, my consultants, to tell me what needs to be edited here and there. Some of the sequences needed to be a little bit shorter. Toned it down a little bit. Some of it was like just too much stuff flying at your face. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, but there's still a lot of stuff flying at your face. Don't worry about that. Especially with I have like the Say No to Nazis poem. And I drew all these cartoon Nazis and tanks and planes flying around. And just, and people tell me when I told them about the Say No to Nazis poem, do people really need to be told say no to Nazis? And I said, yes, they do, because obviously they didn't get the fucking point the first time. So I did that, and I just finished up a clay octopus that I'm going to do for my final claymation sequence, and that's going to be really cool. But it's a pain in the balls because the way you move it around and all the colors get mixed together. So you got to do it right with like touching it the least amount of times possible. Otherwise, it's going to be all smeared and fucked up. If you notice, some of my clay figures are a little bit worse for wear, but hey, I'm still getting use out of them. And I never imagined doing claymation before, but that's been a really cool thing to get into. Can't wait to do that. And well, I guess I'm about wrap this up. It's been Manzoni in the Morning. I hope to see you soon. I hope to have this show ready soon, and I hope to do more live feeds because, hey, I don't want people to think that I'm losing my touch, because that was a big thing, my live shows. And now I'm kind of going into the background and trying to make everything perfect before I release it, because, oh, this person sees it and says this person sees it and says that. Well, I just got to be me, and just do my thing, and, just not worry about everybody, because you're never going to make everybody happy. You're not. I always get one guy that gets up, into one of my shows. They get up and leave. They're like, oh, what is this? So it's like 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 or something. Oh, that's pretty good odds, though. If I can entertain half the people and just have one guy walk out, that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. This has been Manzoni in the Morning Live. Have a great day.